Welcome, Climate Viewers. It's Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. Why do I have such a problem with the chemtrail people lately? This happens every so many years. Last time I raged on chemtrails was probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Caused a big stink. But the point here is, why are the chemtrail people ruining activism? Like, how is the C word getting in the way of people doing something about the thing that everybody's mad about? We're going to get into that because my frustration level can only go so far. And even Buddha won't let me let that, go. But tonight we're going to talk about it, and I want to give you a pragmatic view of why I do what I do and how I think about what I do. And hopefully this will impact your ability to become an activist, to be involved in this. If you're debating going to your local representative, I want to show you my thought process on how to do something about a very complicated topic and why we should all act now instead of waiting for some smoking gun that's never gonna come. That being said, all things Climate Viewer are at connect.climateviewer.com. If you go to this link, connect.climateviewer.com, you will find my Substack, which this article that I'm about to show you is posted on. It'll get sent to your email automatically, and it'll notify you of whenever I'm going live, which apparently is random AF. So you might want to know in advance. That way you can be part of the Nikki knows I am totally PO'd at the moment. But I'm going to keep it together. Bets in chat whether I make it through this video without cursing. Let's do that. So I've got this article up. First thing I want to do is, before I go any further, I just want to shoot you guys to a friend of mine, two friends of mine actually. Why is everything like double posting whenever I paste? That didn't go to everybody. That only went to the YouTubers. So I'm going to post it again. Everybody, I want you guys to subscribe to Stella Q's channel. And she's doing a series with Stella and my good friend Jeff the meteorologist. They're doing a series called Whether or Not. And they're on episode 3 now. I want you guys to all go over there and subscribe to Stella and check out all 3 episodes they've done so far. I think it's very educational. I'm so proud of, 2 of my admins from my my Telegram chat, are, doing their thing, and I love it, and I think it's great, and it's educational. So before we go any further, shout out to them. Make sure you go over there and hit that subscribe button. Whether or not, eyes on the skies, feet on the ground. And this episode is about clouds, and you'll see a whole lot of stuff about how to identify them, what types of clouds they are. And Jeff and Stella, they're going to break it down for you. So please check that out. Tell them I sent you. So today, I spent part of yesterday and most of today working on this. And yeah, I think that's a clever title as well. Give us a quarter every time you swear. Not going to be, nope, not. I said take bets, but no promises. Okay. So I spent most of, yesterday and today writing this because it's one of those subjects that really get to me. And, information without controlled resistance is futile. Resistance is futile. Get it? I think there are a lot of people who are wanting to act and they don't really want to take the time to do the homework. And there are others who have done a lot of homework but don't want to act. And I think that Mitch Santel over in freaking Rumble chat. What's up, Mitch? Long time no see, brother. Anyway, I think there are a lot of people who are like riding the fence on whether to do something about this or not. And I kind of want to, break down the whys and the wherefores. So like I said, if you get this article, in your email inbox, you're going to get an update before everybody else that I'm about to go live. Links to the Rumble and the YouTube. So please subscribe to my Rumble channel as well. We're also live on X and D Live currently. And I really want to point this one out before we go any further. On Monday, at 8 p.m., we're going to be doing an X space where you can be involved in the conversation. If you're not familiar with X spaces, it's very easy. You come in, you click on this. All you need is an X account, a Twitter account, and you can join this conversation. You press the little microphone button to raise your hand, say, hey, I want to speak. You come up up to the top of the board and you ask questions, you comment on things. Everybody can be involved in this, and that's what I love about it. Thanks to Bill Elmore for hosting this. It's going to be Monday night at 8 p.m. Please show up if you can, because it's going to be fire. I've been a part of many different X spaces, and this one's going to be extra special, and I really thank Bill for hosting this one, and I hope you guys will be there. Links to that are in the Substack post and on @ClimateViewer on Twitter. There's a link to the Substack post for everybody to play along. And I'm not, I think it'd be quite boring if I actually read this entire thing to you, but I'm at least going to read some of it to you. So the climate clocks are ticking. The push for legalizing geoengineering to save us from global warming is only accelerating. The amount of research on geoengineering deployment just this past month is only growing exponentially. With all the outrage over chemtrails, why has nothing changed in the past decade that I've been doing this? Now, I'm going to click on, this is a previous article I wrote, but this is from Andrew Lockley, and I just want to give you guys an idea. Every link in here, if I put a link, it's for a purpose, and that purpose is for you to be able to expand your understanding of these things. Now, when you come to Andrew Lockley's solar geoengineering updates for June, I just want to give you guys an idea of the kind of stuff that I'm reading on a regular basis. This is just for June. Deadlines for papers, upcoming funding events. Hey, we want to know what chemicals you can make for stratospheric aerosol injection and cirrus cloud thinning. Laboratory physiochemical characterization of the materials, assessments of near wake field turbulence and all that stuff. All of this is, hey, you want funding in researching geoengineering? Here's the money. Come and get it. Research papers, and the list just goes on and on and on. I think you guys can see, if you can see the cursor on the side, you can realize these were all just published papers. These are the articles that were just published. This last month, it's only getting crazier by the minute. Like I said, if I didn't work a 40-hour-a-week job and I was able to do this full time, I'd be covering every damn one of these in a separate video every single day, and I would have so much content left over that I could barely even get through it. But this is just a month's worth of upcoming events. 14th Geoengineering Model Intercomparison Workshop, 10 through 12 July. Planetary Sunshade Foundation DC social event. I'd love to come to that event and crash it. That'd be fun. RFF 2024 Solar Radiation Management Social Science Workshop, also in DC, coming up in September. May of 2025, the 2025 Degrees Global Forum in Cape Town, South Africa. Arctic Repair Conference 2025 by the University of Cambridge and Center for Climate Repair. Do you think that the people that are pushing for geoengineering to save us from global warming give one crap about your chemtrail beliefs? Do they care that you're upset that the sun is getting blocked on a daily basis? Has it stopped them from doing their research and having meetings like Davos elites with their private jets flying out to, sip martinis with their pinky in the air and then, bloviate on how to block the sun? It has not. None of what anybody has done on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, any of these platforms has changed a damn thing when it comes to geoengineering. Whole lot of talking. Oh, they banned geoengineering in Tennessee. Has it stopped anything? No. They're still clouded over. Nothing has changed. Why? Why is that the case? That's what's got me miffed. Okay? I never even made it to the bottom of the damn... I mean, if you guys want to see, I never even made it to the bottom. I'm only 3/4 of the way through. And then you keep on going, and there's all of this other stuff. YouTube videos of people meeting and talking about, can technology stop a hurricane? Woo! Yeah, I mean, barrels on the way. If it could stop a hurricane, you think they would? Or would they not? Does it even matter? But this is the point I'm trying to make. All of these technocrats are sitting around, and their plans are going ahead despite all of the outrage, despite all of the endless, blowing hot air up people's hiney holes. It's not changing a thing. It's just happening regularly. You can go to Andrew's solar geoengineering updates. I literally put him in my suggested forums on suggested stacks on the side. I'm gonna just drop it in chat for you guys. Go look for yourself. I got a double post there. My for some reason my keyboard is dying on me. I think it was too much Call of Duty. My daughter's been playing on my computer, destroyed my V button apparently. But anyway, so nothing's changed. That's the major problem I have right now. That's the major problem I have. 15 years have passed since I started researching geoengineering and chemtrails, and much has remained the same. They're spraying us with aluminum and barium. We're being sprayed like bugs. Contrails disappear, chemtrails stick around. All of the planes I see where I live aren't on flight trackers. These are the things I hear all the time. Planes don't make contrails. It's all pumps, pipes, and bottles of chemicals. Wonder who that's linked to. Oh, yeah. The high bypass turbojet engines, geoengineering, and the contrail lie. Still up there. Doesn't matter. So people are indoctrinated with a lot of BS that never will get them even close to the truth. And that's the big problem. Pilot whistleblowers explain chemtrails, but doesn't say anything new that I haven't heard on the internet for 10 years. Cue Richard Vobes, pilots speak out. Watch the whole thing. Just a heads up, not a dang thing in there that I have not heard 100 times over. I mean, I've heard it 100 different places. They didn't say for two whistleblowers to come on a show and then say nothing that wasn't already on the internet for, the past 15 years. And for that video to get 182,000 views tells me I'm doing it wrong. No, it tells me that there's something else at work here. And I'm going to call it out. I'm calling it out tonight because, damn it, there we go. That's radio friendly. So that one doesn't count for chat. It's counting. I owe you no quarters on that one. And then finally, Tennessee bans chemtrails, but skies are still covered. Explain that. So again, even with this one, I covered it when it happened. This is, obviously a commercial getting played, but this was, when it happened, March 24th, 2024. And I put Tennessee chemtrail bans fatal flaw. because because the wording. I mean, I still, think that it's a good thing that they passed a ban on cloud seeding and geoengineering. That's a step in the right direction, but it's not going to stop planes from making clouds. That's the problem. Thank you, Nikki, for the clarification. I don't think it counts either. So I'm gonna use that one a lot. All right. So where has all this fear porn gotten us? Can I convince people who already have their minds made up? Why are people not acting on that which we know as opposed to making statements based on feelings? These questions plague my mind like an infection. When it comes to covering every aspect of geoengineering, I'm going to say this one to the camera. When it comes to covering every aspect of geoengineering, weather modification, and space weather modification, I believe that my research has no equal. Period. There's nothing like it on the internet. There's nothing even close. Nobody on the internet, period, has come close. So that being said, the Weather Modification History Interactive Timeline, the Newspaper Vault, maps of geoengineering and weather modification projects, along with all the high-powered transmitters, it's all there. But, as we all know with the rules of the internet, all your carefully picked arguments can easily be ignored. Rules of the internet, number 11. If you're old enough to remember the original rules of the internet, let me know in chat, because I'm that guy. I was there when it was written. The problem with activism these days is that most people who follow the topics of geoengineering or chemtrails are, number one, addicted to fear. Stella, has Jim covered how HARP is driving Hurricane Beryl yet? Stella, were you here at the beginning of the show when I told everybody to go subscribe to you, and now you're going to troll me with that? Oh, she's trying to make me curse. See, that was a smooth one. Kudos to you, Stella. God, you almost got me. You almost got me, Stella. But no, HARP is not on, people. And it's not steering Hurricane Beryl. Jeez. I love a good trolling. But the number one problem, personally, yes, Stella, at the very beginning of the video, I told everybody to go to your channel and subscribe to hear you and Jeff talk. So you need to be nice to me and troll me more, because I deserve it. Anyway, Stella Q in chat, guys. That's my honey from down under that I was telling everybody to go subscribe to earlier. You know, taking the piss out of me. That one doesn't count either, because it's a colloquialism. Anyway, addicted to fear. If you don't know about addiction to fear, maybe you should look it up. But 3 signs that you're addicted to fear: you have built up a personal narrative around fear. Your lifestyle choices reinforce your fear, and you gravitate towards people who reinforce your fear. So this is a vicious cycle where you have a fear of things, and then you tend to, surround yourself with other people who have similar fears. And this is called confirmation bias. You want to hear, other people that, the old saying, misery loves company. If you're miserable and you're addicted to fear, having a whole bunch of other people addicted to fear around you, it's just good times. Just good times. Back to the thing. So the other things that I see in common a lot with people who are, studying chemtrails or geoengineering, pick your words, unable or unwilling to read a lot of material. And I mean that, a lot of material. They want it all explained in a video. They want it in a bumper sticker. They want it to fit in a tweet. Nikki actually makes a great point there. Living in fear is a slave mentality. Excellent point. It's in there. It's in the article. Unable or unwilling to understand science. And I mean, I can't hate on somebody for that. You know what I mean? Everybody has limitations. One of my limitations is the ability to stay on a coherent, narrative for very long, because I tend to divulge into multiple different dimensions, tangents. Maybe it was all that weed I smoked for like 20 years, but I just can't help it. So my limitation is I'm not the greatest public speaker in the world. I do, the things that I do, I make timelines, I make maps, I write things down, I put them in, chronological format so that other people can try to learn in their best way. You know what I mean? People understand things in different ways. 140 characters or bust. Yeah, that's what everybody wants. Want in one hand and poop in the other. See which one you get first. That's what my grandma would say. Lack any motivation to do something about either of these topics. Mindlessly repost anything scary or that seems like an inside scoop, but it clearly, to the trained listener, is using misleading terminology. What does a trained listener do? Oh, they understand propaganda. They understand fake news and how that relates to activism. But more importantly, they understand slave speak and the mental plantation, how words are used to control you. So if you don't understand these words of power that, grant others power over you, then you're probably screwed. Fear is the mind killer. The main problem with the addiction to fear leads to demoralization. Demoralized people feel hopeless and powerless to address that which they fear. If I had $1 for every time I heard, what's the point of trying to do something about this when government, the courts, everything is corrupt, then I'd be filthy rich. I mean, these are just facts, okay? Just facts. I would literally be filthy freaking rich by now if I had, even a quarter for every time I've heard that. Like, I don't even know I understand this, Jim. What can we actually do about it? I mean, seriously, bruh. There's nothing I can do with people who are demoralized. It's not like I can be your personal wellness coach and talk you into being hopeful. The only thing that I fear is that which I do not know. Therefore, I intentionally confront the unknown with a ravenous hunger for knowledge. With knowledge comes power, and with power comes great responsibility. I take that responsibility very seriously. I could easily take the knowledge that I have and mix in enough slave speak and fear porn to become extremely popular and wealthy, as many prominent content creators have done. Doing so would mean that I've wasted 15 years of pragmatic research and genuine hope that we can change our current situation through education and coordinated resistance. The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. Eckhart Tolle. Be aware of of the thoughts you are thinking. Separate them from the situation, which is always neutral, which always is as it is. Or as I like to say, 90%, 10% of crap happens to you, 90% of crap is how you react to it. Pretty well said. So this brings me to my main argument. What do we do about all this? And why are you even complaining about the chemtrail people? What's the deal, yo? So the deal is, this is the main thesis that I've been operating on for a while now. What do we know? What do we not know? And what are we going to do about what we know? I think that this is the basis of pragmatism. Okay? Being pragmatic, having a solutions-based approach to what you're doing. I posed this question via email to every prominent content creator in the geoengineering weather control community several years ago. And that email was a you-know-what show. To my surprise, nobody was willing to even respond, with one exception, Alana Freeland. And Alana said, suggested that I write a draft version to see if we could come to some sort of agreement. I wrote that up and nobody replied to the email on the subject. Therefore, I will make my pragmatic solution public and let you, the inquiring reader, viewer, that wants to know, decide how to best incorporate this into your activism. Because I want to arm you with the same tools I have. I want to arm you with the thinking that I use. And hopefully that will drive you, to be able to make a change in this world. So what do we know? Geoengineering. We know that geoengineering is a serious threat to all life on the planet. We know that geoengineering will kill people. Check out my FAQ on geoengineering for more information. Here's 27 reasons to ban spraying chemicals in the stratosphere to block sunlight. All those reasons. Link to the original from Alan Robach. We know who's funding geoengineering research, which includes Bill Gates, George Soros, National Science Foundation, and many more. All right there. Just look at the map. Open philanthropy. Bill Gates with his Pfizer and Gates Ventures and Breakthrough Energy. I mean, this needs to be updated, as many people as that I know about now. National Science Foundation with their geoengineering model intercomparison program, which I just mentioned from Andrew Lockley's paper. But the list goes on. Harvard Solar Geoengineering Research Project. They need to add a new one because the University of Chicago is now hosting David Keith. He's now there. So, I mean, this thing is constantly growing. This spider web right here was from 2022, and it's gotten twice this size since then. We know that contrails have persisted and created blankets in the sky, cirrus clouds, as early as 1958. We also know that even though contrail cirrus is created by jet exhaust in supersaturated air, the United States military claims the ability to create clouds on demand using carbon black dust, and has had the ability since 1958. I'm going to try this real quick. Let's see if it actually works. Okay, that 1958, jet trails dim sun, Palm Springs gripes. The contrails are not disappearing, but are breaking down into a haze and creating a cloud-like appearance in the sky, blocking out the sun. And then, title of the century, Air Force gives village two choices. This is literally a month later in 1959. Live with the trails or move the city of Palm Springs. This is 1958 and 1959. Also in 1958, Navy scientist creates clouds, breaks them up. Dr. Florence Van Straten. She was creating clouds with carbon black dust. We dropped carbon black suspended in liquid over a track of a mile long and produced a solid line of clouds 1 mile long. Okay? So the United States Navy destroys clouds and creates them on demand using carbon black dust. Why is that important? Because in 1997, Dr. Arnold A. Barnes from the Phillips Lab at Hanscom Air Force Base said, weather modification, this is slide 2, weather modification using carbon black, the exact same thing talked about in 1958, increase cirrus cloud cover to deny visual satellite and high altitude reconnaissance, to decrease light level for nighttime operations. Yeah, they don't want to just block sunlight, they want to block moonlight. You cannot make this stuff up. By the way, carbon black, being that it's got an electrical component to it, creating carbon black cirrus clouds actually creates infrared defeating clouds. So even infrared spy satellites cannot see their operations underneath. And in a summary, current capabilities, 1997, right here, targeted fog dispersal, local changes in rain, precipitation, snow, all that stuff. Cloud modification for surveillance / coverage, hole boring, and create, suppress cirrus contrails. Ionospheric modification. So this was 1997. This is straight out of the U.S. Air Force's mouth and the U.S. Navy. They were able to create and destroy clouds on demand, and simultaneously commercial aviation pollution was blocking out the sun in 1958. You cannot argue with these facts. In fact, I've done an entire PowerPoint presentation on it and made a video on it called Carbon Black Dust and Soot. So it's carbon black manufactured, black carbon soot. Which one are you going to talk about? Because it's one or the other. It's either carbon black or it's black carbon. And you need to know these things. They matter, okay? They matter. So I've been saying for years that the carbon tax cabal is targeting commercial airlines for their non-CO2 emissions because contrail-induced cirrus clouds trap heat at night. Based on this premise, contrails have become an active geoengineering project using three main themes. Let's look at that one real quick, because I don't think you guys know about this. Satvia and ACX partner on first ever carbon trade to monetize aviation's non-CO2 impacts. That's right. It's carbon taxes for contrails turning into cirrus. Oh, but they want to actually turn that into a carbon credit. This is important. Always follow the money. Isn't that what we always used to say? In fact, this isn't even in there, but I'll go and I'll do you one better. We'll bring up the others. Delta here and carbon taxes. I got the one up. This is the other. And then finally, since we're there, we might as well go there. So what are they talking about? Etihad and Satavia signed a multi-year commercial agreement to deliver contrail management and future carbon credits. What did I say? Been saying it for years. Oh, there's no conspiracy. There's no. What are you talking about, Jim? You must be freaking crazy. I am always right, like 99.98%. The last two decimals keep going up, but I am always right because you know what? These guts built strong. It's all about money. Give me the greenbacks. So when you look at this, contrail management and future carbon credits within day-to-day operations, what these people talking about? I don't want any of that. Just go away. And they talk about their contrail program. Where did I see it? Satvia's contrail management platform, Decision X Net Zero, optimizes commercial flight plans for greener operations. It's right there. Because, as they say, aircraft-generated condensation trails or contrails cause surface warming responsible for up to 2/3 of aviation's climate impact, significantly outweighing direct CO2 emissions from aircraft engines. Satavia's contrail management platform, Decision X Net Zero, optimizes commercial flight plans for greener operations, implementing small routing changes on a minority of flights to avoid the formation of persistent warming contrails, which I brought up in an article that I just did on contrails.org, where Bill Gates is talking about contrails having a substantial warming effect and how they want to reroute flights to only make cooling contrails. And they even have a freaking map that you can check on a daily basis to show which contrails are creating cooling cirrus clouds or warming contrails with the flight tracks. Oh, we see red. That's warming contrails. This is stuff I was talking about 10 years ago and telling everybody it This is the fact. It's about carbon credits, carbon taxes, and about contrail control for geoengineering purposes. It's all come true. Like every damn bit of it has come true. Why? Because I read a lot and I remember everything I read. Delta's latest climate collaboration tackles warming contrails with MIT. Lufthansa introduces $77 environmental fee for sustainable travel. You're going to be hearing more about this stuff. It's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger. Derek is in chat. Exhaust particles from... bro, slow down. I'll bring it up. Exhaust particles from aircraft turbine engines cause direct damage to lung cells. Non-volatile particle emissions from aircraft turbine engines at ground idle induce oxidative stress in bronchial cells. That's why they said they wanted to do ultra low sulfur jet fuel on takeoff and then switch to high sulfur fuel at altitude. The two fuels to rule them all idea. Derek knows what he's talking about. Derek, going to be a shout out to you in a minute because you brought up the ultrafine particle numbers. I threw them in here, and I actually got the original paper. So hang on for that one, Derek. You're going to love it. So we know the carbon tax cabal is targeting commercial airlines for their non-CO2 emissions because money. Because contrail-induced cirrus clouds trap heat at night. At least that's what they claim. So that's all they have to do. All they have to do is say, because science, because we claimed it, we can carbon tax you. But if you make cooling contrails that turn into cirrus clouds and block out sunlight, then you can say, you know what, everybody? We're part of the solution. Contrail avoidance and intentional contrail forming, cooling contrail formation. Covered this in my last article and video. Contrail geoengineering, the chemtrail conspiracy, real deal with Bill Gates and his breakthrough technologies, contrails.org. And I covered this even my very first Substack post. The very first one I ever wrote was on geoengineering with contrails, because I believe this is the most important part that nobody's willing to talk about. In fact, if you poll the majority of people who are in the chemtrail world, they will tell you that contrails are a dirty word. Back to what I said earlier. Contrails disappear, chemtrails stick around. You don't science. You don't science, or you believe Dane's stuff. I don't know. I can't help you if you can't do the research. Particles, farticles. Love it. I call them plane farts. Everybody knows that on this channel. But plane farts make clouds, and they make clouds when atmospheric conditions are right. If the atmospheric conditions are not right, they will not make clouds, which is why I said go check out Whether or Not on Stella Q's channel and learn about when clouds form based on, planes flying at what altitude, ice supersaturated regions, and all that stuff. Based on this premise, the contrails have been an active geoengineering project using three main themes: contrail avoidance and intentional cooling contrail formation, biofuels or sustainable aviation fuels for contrail control, and cirrus cloud thinning, also known as cirrus cloud seeding, to melt away spreading persistent contrail cirrus. Now, most people don't know about CCT. They keep showing the, Biden administration solar radiation modification report, and they talk about the stratospheric aerosol injection. They talk about the marine cloud brightening. They don't talk about this. And it's really a head scratcher because, why wouldn't you talk about this? It's been around since January 2015, about what they call thermal radiation management or earth radiation management. Most people don't even know that it exists, which kind of blows my freaking mind at this point. But they made it pretty clear. This is Trude Storyevmo talking about it. Cirrus cloud seeding is the other term for it, using bismuth triiodide, and that they could do it via commercial airlines. That they could melt away the chemtrails. How about that? Clouds Part 2 is coming soon. Awesome. That's why I told everybody go subscribe. Go subscribe now. And this is actually, I believe this is actually true story of. This is from the Weather Modification Conference 2015, and her, actually talking about exactly that.
So I'll be talking about a relatively unexplored geoengineering mechanism, namely cirrus cloud seeding.
Yeah, that T Storyovmo. Trude Storyovmo. Anyway, people don't know this history. That's part of the problem. So if you don't know about this stuff, if you don't know about biofuels for contrail control, you should probably learn about this stuff. Hell, I testified about this back in 2015 at the EPA. People still have no freaking clue about it. It's very rarely discussed. And, you can actually watch them testing the plane farts. They literally do this. They're like, all right, we got the biofuels. We're burning in the DC-8. We're Tango Foxtrot, go! Chemtrails. And you can see over here on the side, ultrafine particles, fine particle concentration, non-volatile particle concentration. Oh, we're going in for another one. Sniff. The smell of chemtrails in the morning. Me love some chemtrails. All right. These are the access flights. Alternative fuel effects on contrails and cruise emissions. One more thing. That was some Hunter Biden snorting right there. They have been flying behind these chemtrails for years. Ulrich Schumann, Germany's DLR. Hundreds of reports on it. Ulrich Lohmann. She reported that 75% of contrail cirrus was man-made metals. The cloud seeds in cirrus clouds were man-made metals. There's not much that we don't need to know, that we don't already know. I mean, seriously, there's very little left to figure out at this point. That's what's driving me crazy about that. If anybody actually wants to watch that video, where were we? Here, I'll drop that one in here. Links are at the bottom of the page. I mean, all the links are in the article already. So that's the point of the Substack, is that you can literally come here and you can just click on this, and that takes you here, and that lets you go down here and read all of the stuff, see that it is called the Alternative Fuel Effects on Contrails and Cruise Emissions Access Flights. Pictures of them flying their little flying laboratory behind it, sniffing them chemtrails. All the effects on aerosol cloud interactions, how contrails are formed by soot, and all of that, climate change impacts, damages. I like a good flow chart, even if it is mostly incorrect. But all the videos are here from the access flights, and this is Dr. Angusai Halthori, who I chatted at. I had a phone call with him, and he said we want to make clouds by day, none by night. I didn't say it; he said it. Hey, Lancelot Dufresne, super chat 298. I appreciate it, Lance. Thank you so much, man. God bless you. Lord knows my family, we need it. So any help's appreciated. Thank you so much, sir. We have evidence that geoengineering is occurring already. And the CIA acknowledges that rogue geoengineering is undetectable. That's a big problem. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I think that's a big problem. That rogue geoengineering, meaning if an individual or a single country or a single company decided to geoengineer the planet, there isn't a sensor on the planet that can detect it. In fact, Alan Robach, same guy that made this graphic up here, Right about here. This guy, same Alan Robach that came up with 27 reasons why geoengineering is a bad idea. He added number 26, military use of technology. Why? Because maybe this is why. Because he was approached by the CIA. Speaking at the annual meeting of the American Association for the Advancement of Science in San Jose, California, where he took part in a debate on geoengineering to combat climate change, Professor Alan Robach, geoengineering scientist, said, "I got a phone call from two men who said they worked as consultants for the CIA, and we'd like to know if some other country was controlling our climate, would we know about it? I told them after thinking a little bit that we probably would, because if you put enough material in the atmosphere to reflect sunlight, we would be able to detect it and see the equipment that was putting it up there. At the same time, I thought they were probably also interested in if we could control somebody else's climate, could they detect it?" Asked how he felt about the approach, asked how he felt when the approach was made, he said, "Scared. I'd learned a lot of the other things the CIA had done that haven't followed the rules, and I thought that wasn't how I wanted my tax money spent. I think this research has to be in the open and international so there isn't any questions of it being used for hostile purposes." The problem with what he's saying is, and I pointed this out back in 2015, the CIA Weather Warfare and Climate Terrorism, this was originally posted on UK Daily Mail, chill factor at the CIA weather query. And, here's the quotes and all of that. But the problem is that the CIA was a major funder of the National Academy's report on climate intervention. And that really worried me. Who's going to be in control? And we've all seen, the CIA also seeded clouds over Cuba to make it rain and ruin the sugar harvest. They actually were creating a drought. It's called Project Nile Blue. But anyway, the fact is, I said, "Dear CIA, we cannot detect rogue geoengineering." I didn't say this. Diane Seidel said this. "Albedo variability limits potential detections of engineered increases in reflected sunlight in 2015. Diane Seidel from NOAA College Park, blah, blah, blah. "A fundamental scientific question is whether a solar radiation management scheme would be detectable with current global climate observing system. In summary, although very large geoengineering programs are potentially detectable, interannual albedo variability, meaning but every other year the reflectivity of the sky changes. Interannual albedo variability overwhelms the maximum conceivable increases associated with the leading proposed SRM schemes. Translation: potential detection of engineered increases in reflected sunlight. We cannot detect that. We cannot, because even the high end of leading proposed solar radiation management schemes would be undetectable because it would mimic what cirrus clouds and clouds do naturally. So there's no way to tell the difference. It's completely freaking undetectable. That's a big freaking problem. Don't you agree? I go way into this thing about the Climate Intelligence Agency and how they actually had a climate change office, which they abruptly closed and moved to a different location because they don't want. CIA closes its climate change office in 2012, and this work continues to be performed by a dedicated team in a new office because it's national security. So that's why you've repeatedly hear me say, if anybody is doing secret government rogue geoengineering, it's the CIA, the Climate Intelligence Agency. Why? They did Operation Popeye in Vietnam. They did the weather warfare over Vietnam. They did the same thing to Cuba when they were creating a drought to kill Castro's sugar crops. Brennan was at the Council on Foreign Relations talking about how cool stratospheric aerosol injection is. And the CIA went and asked Alan Robach, geoengineer, hey, you know, if somebody were like, you know, saying, you know, like block out some sunlight, I mean, would anybody notice? Doctor? And it freaked him out. Well, you know what? It freaks me out too. It should freak you out. But these are questions that we will never get the answer to. Secret government projects don't come out. The truth does not come out for typically 30 to 50 years after it's happened. If you're lucky. So you have that much time? Do you have enough time to wait for that secret government program to become? That's why I'm doing this video. That's what I'm trying to explain here. So we can't wait. All the evidence on that right here. Evidence of clear sky daylight whitening. Are we already conducting geoengineering? By Chuck Long. He said that a subvisual ice haze is already brightening the sky. This is not a cloud. This is making the sky whiter and brighter. It is geoengineering. It's already happening. These are the contrail things. This is cirrus cloud seeding or thinning. How it works, why it works. All this stuff is in the article. And making cooling contrails on demand by avoiding contrail forming regions when they're going to be warming contrails, creating cooling contrails on purpose, fly into that water body to cool the planet. That is geoengineering with contrails. And this is by the Greener by Design Contrail Avoidance Group. So contrail avoidance for geoengineering. Now to the real chemtrail problem. And Dirk is in chat. Dirk, you're going to get a real kick out of this one. We know that jet exhaust contains carbon black soot covered in graphene, filled with toxic nanoparticles of metal. Jet exhaust releases up to 100 quadrillion ultrafine particles per second. That's 1E17, or 1 with 17 zeros behind it, per second. That many ultrafine particles per second. Don't believe me? All of this stuff is linked right here so you can actually read it. If you come down here, this is the original publication, Electron Microscope Study of Soot Particles, soot particle matter emissions from aircraft turbine engines. And when, you know, because that one's not public, one of our guys, Ed, in the Telegram chat actually wrote the author, and the author sent it to us. So we got this beautiful baby of a picture here where you can actually see this is what soot particles look like. This is what makes the clouds that comes out of planes that everybody sees. It's called an aciniform or grape-like structure. Each of these spheres is one piece of carbon black or soot. If you get closer, this is 40 nanometers. Now let's zoom into 5 nanometers. P.S. Nobody in the sound of my voice has got the money to buy any kind of equipment that could ever see any of this crap that I'm showing you right now. So don't go trying to send me some dark field microscopy videos of bull crap when very few, I mean, just outrageously expensive to get down to a 5 nanometer, let alone a 2 nanometer real close-up of that. In fact, I'm going to bring this image up in a new thing just so I can zoom in even more. When you look at this little section right here is zoomed into here. It's 5 nanometers. That's one black carbon cluster right there, filled with all the nanoparticles of metal. And then right here, this is the graphene structure on the outside of it, because basically the soot has a graphene laminae on it, and it says it right here. soot particles surrounded by relatively well-formed, deformed graphene lamellae. C and D inset. C, D. And the arrows point to blow-ups of that location. So here you can see a really close picture of it. Oh, chat. Derek's like, that's really not that much. It's only three grams. You crack me up, dude. 100 quadrillion ultrafine particles is only 3 grams of black carbon. I mean, it's still a lot of really small particles. Just saying. I mean, weight-wise, yes, not going to be very heavy. Still going to kill the hell out of you. That's why people are dying around airports. Back to the thing. So anyway, there's that. And we know that there are approximately 10,000 black carbon particles per square meter in at 18 kilometers in the stratosphere. So this is a problem. This is what nobody's really talking about. How much of this is up there? And graphene lemonade. I'm gonna start calling that, instead of laminae or lamellae, a thin membrane. For those who have never heard the word, I had to Google it myself. We know no government or private agency is testing our air or rainfall for these nanoparticles or ultrafine particles, and they're affecting all life on this planet. That's the bottom line. All of the air quality indexes, like the EPA air quality network, the aerosol robotic network, they only test for PM 2.5, meaning particulate matter of a 2.5 micron or higher. A nanometer is 1,000 micron. 1,000 nanometers is 1 micron. So it's 1,000-fold smaller. And they don't test for it. And even what they do test for, they just literally weigh a wet sock. They don't actually test what chemicals are in their pollution monitoring systems, which is really sad. So anyway, that's a big problem. These are all of the metals that are detected in jet exhaust. I've covered this many times. What do we know about weather modification? This is the part that people really don't want to deal with. The problem with weather modification and geoengineering, all of it falls apart when you understand this. That we know the technology, history, and names of almost everyone worldwide engaged in attempts to control the weather. We also know they have all failed at controlling anything. All weather modification attempts since the invention of cloud seeding in 1946 have unpredictable results. And I give a whole damn load of references here. These are all from climateviewer.com/weather modification. And you can read all of those there. I just copy pasted them right here. That there was evidence that cloud seeding could actually decrease rainfall by accident. That they are technologies which are striving to achieve sound scientific foundation. That cloud seeding produced a 3% increase in precipitation with a 28% probability this result happened by chance. The geoengineering and weather modifications are considered outside of the scope of control theory. It's chaos theory. It's the butterfly effect. Understanding cloud seeding efficacy that for over half a century has been an unanswered question. It's not science, bro. Israel 4 experiment was stopped a year earlier than planned because the results are so crappy that these results led to a decision by the Israel Water Authority to stop operational seeding. So more and more scientists and companies that are putting their dollars out there are saying, you know what, this does not work. And that's why in the United Arab Emirates, they are trying everything under the sun to come up with a better way. Okay? They got to find a better way because what they've done so far sucks. But these are the 10 technologies to control the weather today. If you have not seen this before, I made this infographic to give you an idea of the wheres, the winds, how high, and all of that stuff. So the stratosphere is right here, 50 kilometers at the most. The troposphere, it tops out anywhere between 42,000 feet to as low as 32,000 feet. Even Jeff, found the tropopause, this line right here, the divider between the stratosphere and the troposphere, found it as low as 25,000 feet. Meaning any plane that's flying around, all of its ultrafine particles, all of its, plane farts are stratospheric aerosol injection. Why? Because if the stratosphere is as low as 25,000 feet and a plane is flying in the stratosphere, all of its plane farts, all of its exhaust, all of the soot and graphene and metals, all of it is going into the stratosphere, meaning it's going to be there a lot longer. That's a big deal. But ionospheric heaters, sounding rockets, satellites, lasers, cloud seeding, cloud ionizers, stratospheric aerosol injection, ship tracks, contrail-induced cirrus, even water vapor pollution. That's the whole list of weather modification technologies. Notice NEXRAD radars ain't on there. Why is NEXRAD radars not on there, Jim, you might be asking? Well, because nobody in the history of science, in the history of weather modification, has ever, and I want to put this 100 times, nobody ever has been able to claim or had the guts to claim or put their reputation on the line to say, I was able to control weather using radio frequency. And the only people who have claimed to do that, like Climate Control Global Trading LLC, when I questioned them, I said, hey man, show me the science, show me that you can actually prevent, like what you're saying, you can steer hurricanes, you can prevent dust storms using, radio frequency waves, and you convince me and I'll convince the world. And that's when radio silence disappeared. David Miles, I consider him, very friendly. I interviewed him. And David Miles, he, doesn't want anybody to see his research. Claims he can steer atmospheric rivers. But, with ground-based transmission stations, I'm going, show me the money. Show me the evidence. Nobody, and I mean nobody, ever in the history of man has written down a scientific paper, had it peer-reviewed, or showed their technology, or even advertising their technology that they can control anything weather-related using radio frequency or radars. That's why I say bullcrap on the NEXRAD thing. What's up, Brian? Brian's a friend of mine from high school. Lived down the street from me when I was a kid. Brian Blevins in chat. What's up, brother? But no, there's absolutely zero evidence that NEXRADs can control the weather. Why? Because you don't understand power. You don't understand how frequency interacts with water vapor. Concept object, he knows David also in chat. Most, if not all, tornadoes were inside NEXRAD's 500 to 100 mile radius. I do not have the answer, but DutchSense did provide those facts. Robert, love you, brother, but I just gotta say, you know what? Real-time fact check in progress right now. Let's play along at home. So you're stating that every single we're going to go to ClimateViewer.org, and we're going to go to ClimateViewer 3D, and we're going to go to atmospheric sensors and EMF sites, and we're going to turn on these radars, and we're going to turn on these radars, and finally we're going to turn on these radars. So you mean to tell me that every single tornado in America has happened within 100 miles, 100, you said 100 to 500 miles. Did you say that? Was that what you said? 500 to 100, 50 to 100 miles of a NEXRAD location. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Bruh, look how many there are. How could a tornado not happen near one? You don't even know what these red ones are. Neither does DutchSense because he can't even see them. Okay? These are not publicly available. I know this for a fact. These are what's called the Joint Surveillance Systems Doppler radars. Oh, I forgot to turn the TDWRs on. Let me go grab those. They're all the way down here near the bottom. So this is the actual coverage right here. Is that actually, I don't know that this map actually works right now. This came from, let's see. I think that this is down actually. ArcGIS server. So why is it not working? Is it just that slow? Anyway, I'll have to update that one. But these were the actual radius coverage on all of these at different feet. So this is coverage at 10,000 feet. You can pretty much see from the picture, it covers everything. Okay? That's the actual range of them. Okay? So you can't not be near one of these, is the point I'm trying to make. And then finally, you have terminal Doppler weather radar, these yellow ones. So, I mean, in the case of Hurricane or Tornado Alley, as you can see here, I need to kill that one coverage because it's jacking everything up. There's no way for you not to hit a damn NEXRAD with a tornado along the way. You're zigzagging in between them. Just saying. Just saying. If only there were a joint surveillance system, we might be friends. Lance, you killing me, bro. No, it's not that type of joint, homie. But yeah, these are what's called air route service radar, air route surveillance radar, ARSR4s, part of the joint surveillance system. They're also known FAA long range tracking radars, but they do double duty as weather radars. They are Doppler radars. Okay. And then these up top are the Canadian SIGMET. They're just like NEXRADs, except they happen to be in Canada. You know, for those who want to see, these are up above in Canada. So I have all of them. There's actually been a couple more added, but the point being, all of those are there. But riddle me this, and this is the thing I can't understand about the NEXRAD people. Like, this is another one of those that just irks my damn nerve. To the NEXRAD people. So you're telling me that a Doppler weather radar, like this guy right here, that, you know, you can click this, you can go to NEXRAD station data. They have what you're viewing on a daily basis, and, you know, these people on YouTube are using is called NEXRAD level 1 data. So you have ones and zeros that come in, and then those are turned into graphics. Those graphics that you see, those are called products. So the products are different. And you also have what's called level 2 data and level 3 data. So for every single NEXRAD, you can look at the very generic baseline reflectivity, and you might see some oddities in there. But guess what? Most of those oddities, was saving this for a separate video. But like I said, we do tangents around here, and this is a, you know, I almost said precipitation, a participation driven event going on here. I think I actually threw it right here at the top. A guide to WSR 88D data quality phenomena and anomalies. Now this is the thing, and I want you guys, I'm going to drop this in chat just to really take the piss out of the NEXRAD heads. Because if you start to go through this, what you realize very quickly is there's a lot of problems with visualizing NEXRAD data. Like this little barb you see here. This is what happens when a very tall building or a mountaintop gets in the way and it can't reflect back. Oh, look at all those rings. That's freaky. That must be weather control. Those are bird signatures appearing on radar. These are bat signals. And I'm not talking about like trying to call Batman. These are actual bat signals showing up on radar. You can't make this stuff up. Have you seen a scalar wave? I think I caught one in the Texas Panhandle. You have not, because I'll go to the end of this thing real quick just to show you. But I already had a guy who commented so fast that he could not have possibly read the article. And let's go straight to the haters. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this. Partial and approximate information is also futile, Jim. He wrote this 2 hours ago. The article was literally 5 minutes old, proving that he did not read the article. Because this comment came in so fast afterwards. Despite your hard work, your knowledge and understanding of physics actually used in weather warfare and climate modification is limited. Wah, 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 wah. Or what you display is limited by design. Oh, wait, that was a real nice way of calling me a limited hangout. I appreciate that. Scalar technology is real. Scalar technology is real. Operational since decades. Evidence of it exists. For those who don't know what to look for, as you don't know the signatures of it, your awareness is stuck on what you know. However, a whole new reality will open up to you. What you realize, what you missed, is a huge part of how weather warfare is deployed. You dumb sack of shit, Jim Lee. You shill. You're the worst. Oh my God, people like you Satans. Just devils on here just shilling on the internet. Makes me mad, big mad. Anyway. And then he goes on to say, why, Jim, what's up with that? You can't read the comments and click that at the same time? Great. Why never talking about the presence of nanotechnology in chemtrail depositions? Buy $100 microscope. Wait for the chemtrails day, and the following rain. Few drops on a slide and take some photos. Example. I'm gonna show it in a second. How does this fit your model of geoengineering? So all this research and never exposing the obvious nanotech issue. I mean, I'm talking about nanoparticles in the jet fuel and how that affects everything. But, I guess that's not nanotech. That's just nano pollution. But, why split hairs, right? It's because the consequences are even more scary. Oh, I love scary shit, so let's go back there. They're even more scary than what's already known. Is it because you actually didn't know? Huh, Jim Lee, you cocky fucker? Or is it because you don't believe they would do this to humanity? What a dumbass. A lot of questions for you, Jim Lee. I'm watching you, Jim Lee. So I responded to the guy. These are out of order. I said, you claim that I don't understand physics, then claim that nanoparticles can be seen with a $100 microscope. Right. Oh shit, he deleted his comment and he deleted his account? What? That's not Oh no, not before I can get the video out. Bro, I'm so let down. Like, dude, you were literally, dude, he just deleted the comment that I just read. Oh my God. What the what in the absolute fuck is going on? The money bet's off at this point. Like, wow. I mean, okay. So anyway, he said that you guys just saw it. It's recorded here. No take backs on the internet. But you don't get to see his comments to my comment, which is pretty fucking hilarious in my personal opinion. So I wow. Just, I mean, freaking wow. All right. So I said, you claim you can see nanoparticles with a $100 microscope. Right. And he basically says, well, you know, they can, yeah, a live deletion. That's what just happened. This comment was live deleted, everybody. Wow. Bruh. They run for the hills whenever the truth hits them. I don't know. Maybe I was trying to be nice to the guy, honestly. But here we go. So he said, well, nanoparticles can't aggregate and become micron size. And I was like, I somewhat agree, but mostly disagree. Nanobots or weaponized nanoparticles would not agglomerate, as it would defeat their purpose, penetration of the blood-brain barrier. The day we all agree is the day we could all be wrong. Nonetheless, engineered nanoparticles, I would file that in the what we don't know section of this article, because we cannot prove who, what, when, where, or why. You know, the basics. And on his other comment about scalar technology, I said this. I got to get you guys out of here. Sorry. Also, give me one example of scalar technology being used without mentioning Thomas Bearden, which I covered here. And I did cover it here. In fact, I covered it better than anybody, because not only did I cover, you know, everything Bearden said and claimed about the Russian woodpecker, I mapped it out, and I got articles on this from, this is Popular Communications 1984. Is ELF able to control the weather? And, you know, Dr. Mitrowski and all these guys saying that Soviet ELF signals are pulses on a frequency of 31.5 hertz and have caused a giant standing wave troughs over the Rocky Mountains, and that this was how scalar interferometry worked and in the 1983 freezing of America caused by Tesla technology being used over there. Also, Soviet superpower tests burned the ionosphere back in 1970s. Monitoring Times, February 2001. That, you know, the Duga array is within 5.9 miles of the Chernobyl reactor. Coincidence? I don't know. You let me know. So anyway, I brought all this up. I'm like, I did cover scalar technology, but can you do that without mentioning Thomas Bearden? Because I have not seen anybody ever, you know, use this technology or mention using this technology ever. It's not in any, only Thomas Bearden ever talked about this, and that's it. That's it. So he said, if you're being genuine, then I guess, you know, maybe I'm being too harsh on you. And I said, you know, hey dude, look, I am being genuine, and as neither I nor you can give an example of scalar technology being used as a weapon or for weather control today, I would file that in the what we don't know section of this article. Would you agree? And obviously he decided to run for the hills and just delete his comments. But that's how things go. So, I mean, wow. I did not expect a real-time deletion while making the damn video. It still says 8 comments. I wonder if it's still there. Nope. It's gone now. That comment I just read to you guys is now gone, along with all the others. Hi, David. Would you like to see evidence of scalar technology in operation? I would love to. Please share. And if he sends me a freaking NextRad video, I'm gonna laugh out loud. I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm just gonna laugh out loud. What else can I do with that? But yeah, it's always the fun in the comment section. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that alone for now and go back to the article because I haven't even finished this thing. Let's just what is it still saved there? It's still saved there. Let me just screenshot that real quick. Cause no takebacks is so much fun. And I love a good screenshot of something that somebody deleted. So I'll be sure to post that at the bottom of the article just to so everybody knows that I'm not crazy. Maybe I'll just throw it up on Imager and link to it so everybody knows who I was responding to and why. But anyway, that's back there. That's so nice. Love it. Love it. All right, so where were we? Because we were almost to the bottom of this thing, honestly. So, and we probably should get to the bottom of this since we're, what, an hour and 21 minutes in? Boy, he's going the distance. He's not going for speed. So there's all of these, you would know about screenshots are gold, you troll. He had Curiouser and Curiouser on Twitch definitely has lots of screenshots. So I learned from the best. Screenshot everything. Oh Lord, it's just too funny. Yep, receipts are receipts, baby. Hey, you got them and I got them too, man. Ain't no joke about that one. It's so true. Oh Lord, they run for the hills, dude. I don't know. I did not expect that to disappear so quickly. So back to this. Irving Langmuir, inventor of cloud seeding, took all the credit for it. He said, in the amount of energy liberated by the effect of 30 milligrams of silver iodide under optimum conditions equals that of one atomic bomb. Maybe the dude was exaggerating a little bit, but that's a hell of a statement. So what is this? This is Dr. Irving Langmuir blames Air Force for floods. He invented cloud seeding in November of 1946, and in April of 1955, Dr. Irving Langmuir, Nobel Prize winner and consultant for GE General Electric experiments with rainmaking, also declared an Air Force test on a tornado off the eastern coast of October 17. It wasn't a tornado. It was even this newspaper's getting it wrong. A tornado off the coast, October 17, 1947, may have turned the twister off its course and pushed it into Savannah, Georgia, with damage and $5 million. I'm going to fact check the Spencer Daily Reporter from 1955. That was actually Project Cirrus. Project Cirrus was literally 11 months. So invented November 1946. By October of 1947, they attempted to steer, I think it was Tropical Storm Beulah, and that turned into a hurricane, changed directions and colors, and then slammed into Savannah, Georgia. In fact, you know what? I'm going to double check myself on that one real quick. Interactive timeline, Project Cirrus. And you can see that right here. Boom. Project Cirrus first hurricane experiment, and you can see it right here. U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, U.S. Weather Bureau, and General Electric Labs seed first tropical storm ever on October 13th, 1947. Right here, where this arrow, I made this graphic, by the way. Kind of crappy graphic, but it gets the point across. On October 13, 1947, with 180 pounds of dry ice dropped by an aircraft, the Cape Sable hurricane formed, abruptly changed color and direction 120 degrees, and slammed into Savannah, Georgia, causing 1 death and $3.2 million in damages. Just, pulling that one right out of my hat. Okay, so back to the article. Wasn't a tornado, it was a freaking hurricane that they steered into it. But anyway, facts is facts. There's evidence that rainmaking in some areas may create drought in others. That's their 2 points. Langmeyer was interviewed while attending the International Arid Land Symposium, where scientists from 18 nations are seeking answers to rapidly growing arid regions, which are already covered a third of the Earth's land surface. Steady downpour. He declared that he thinks now, and insisted at the time, that a single silver iodide generator operating out of Alamogordo, New Mexico under Project Cirrus, they got it right there, caused the steady downpours which drowned the Missouri Valley 3 years ago. We had been seeding for some time. The storms kept getting bigger and better. I told them, the armed forces heads administering the project, that I felt we ought to stop seeding as the rains in the Missouri Valley kept falling. Quote, not me, but Irving Langmeyer, the inventor of cloud seeding, but the administrator of the project was on vacation at the time. No one would take responsibility for ordering the seeding stopped. Finally, I told them we must stop. Things were getting serious. We stopped on July 2nd. On July 7th, the flood just about devastated Omaha. If we had stopped our generators 2 weeks earlier, Langmeyer said, the Missouri Valley floods would not have happened. This is the kind of weather chaos that happens. This is straight from Dr. Irving Langmeyer, inventor of cloud seeding. Okay? So if you actually come back here to the timeline and you go down to where he invented it, which is 1947, you can see them all hanging out. And this is the guy who invented the ground-based cloud seeding generator. But, this is Irving Crick, and, that's Vincent Schaefer, that's Irving Langmeyer, and that's Bernard Vonnegut, Kurt Vonnegut's brother. In case you know who Kurt Vonnegut is. If you don't read, then you don't know who Kurt Vonnegut is. But that's Bernard Vonnegut. And then basically Vincent Schaefer breathed into a cloud chamber, aka a freezer, and he made clouds, and cloud seeding was invented. But he was very proud of his chemtrail making device. And this is him right before his death. It's Vincent Schaefer. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on that in here. Planes control weather, boy's life, what it takes to make a General Electric scientist. I love history. That's why this is fun for me. Going back and understanding history informs your present understanding of all of this stuff. But that's where these articles came from. This is actually him, inventing cloud seeding.
Air from the breath condenses and forms a cloud.
Wait for the chemtrails.
And this cloud cools to a temperature of about 0 degrees Fahrenheit in a few seconds. Any moist thing placed in this box will produce such a cloud. By putting this cloud in the chamber, we can then do various things to it to see whether or not we can convert this supercooled cloud to snow. This cloud is made up of liquid water droplets. They are not snow crystals as yet, but by taking a tiny piece of dry ice such as this and scratching it so a few tiny fragments fall into the supercooled cloud, long streaks develop just like the vapor trail from an airplane. These can
just like the vapor trails from an airplane. Dry ice dropped into a bunch of water vapor made chemtrails. It's really that simple, guys. It's really that simple. You've got to have a seed, you got to have moisture, and you can make trails, you can make clouds. And that's how it was invented, and there's more to that story. I'm not going to go on with that. Because that's, of course, one of my, sidetracks. But I wanted you to understand who Vincent Schaefer was so that you could understand this one. And what does it say? I guess we'll blow this up in another window. Cloud seeding cause of U.S. floods, July 1951. Pioneering rainmaker said that there should be an investigation to determine whether cloud seeding might be might have intensified devastating Midwest floods. Dr. Vincent J. Schaefer, weather scientist at General Electric Research Lab, created the first man-made snowfalls in November 1946 and pioneered artificial rain-making experiments. He said the fact that seeding operations in the West are even more widespread this year than ever before made it imperative that a critical but unbiased study should be made to determine whether these seeding activities intensified or influenced unusual storms. Senate and House Representatives committees have been investigating rainmaking for months to see if there is a need for federal control over cloud seeding. Experts before the committee have split sharply over just how much rain can be produced by artificial means. The point of all of this is it's completely fucking random. They have no idea what's going to happen when they start sprinkling skies with chemicals. Period. End of story. If cloud seeding is gambling with your weather, then geoengineering is gambling with your life. And that's the main point I want to get across to you. That if cloud seeding on a small area cannot be proven science, cannot be predictable, seeding the entire world to block sunlight is worldwide weather modification and will kill people. They know this. They've admitted to this. This is why it matters. What we don't know, because this is the second part of the question, and I sum it up very shortly. I could add a whole bunch more to this, like the scalar thing. Are there secret programs to geoengineer the skies? Are there secret programs to depopulate the planet? If so, who's behind these secret programs? What weather warfare activities are going on today as they have in the past? We don't know these things. We'll never know these things. That's the problem with the secret whistleblowers. That's the problem with, all of the scary, videos. It's fun to speculate. Man, I liked, Twilight Zone. I liked Unsolved Mysteries. I love that shit. Everybody loves a good conspiracy. But when you're talking about activism, if you're in this for the infotainment, then good for you. Just at least know that that's what you're in it for. I want to see this stuff stopped. I'm an activist. I want to see legislation or, civil disobedience, whatever's necessary to make this stuff go away before they legalize geoengineering on a worldwide basis. And my daughters grow up in a world where they control how much sunlight people get. Planes are already doing that. Nobody's talking about contrail avoidance and cooling contrails and controlling all of that. They're just focused on nanobots and scalar waves and NextRad and all the other, hokey things that nobody can prove. Instead of all the stuff that is proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, we know for a fact all of these things, you could take these to a court of law, you could take them to your representative, not sound like a tinfoil hatter, and you could do something about them. Instead, people literally focus mainly on this stuff. Secret programs, depopulation, nanobots, all that stuff. The truth is that we already know geoengineering kills people, that it's already occurring, and that cold kills more people than heat. If there is a secret program or not, we know that weather modification and accidental geoengineering projects are already causing untold amount of damage and death worldwide. Read my article on accidental geoengineering with ship tracks and contrails. This was actually published on climatex.mit.edu, became the #1 most viewed article on their ClimateX webpage on MIT University, and they decided to delete it because you can't have that much truth on a climate discussion page on MIT. But, you know, hey, I was invited to write an article, so I wrote a hell of a one. I suggest if you want to have some fun, go read about that and the New Manhattan Project and all the other shenanigans that are going on. So, and I threw this one in there, and I probably should have explained it a little bit more, but the point I'm making here about that cold kills more people than heat, okay? We're coming up on a grand solar minimum. So there should be a decrease in temperature. And if we have a decrease in temperature, and let's say a really large volcanic eruption, and you've started geoengineering, what happens? We're going to have a rapid decline in temperature. And geoengineering, by definition, if you do it in the stratosphere, it's going to take a cool down time or residence time or the amount of time for those chemicals to get out of the stratosphere of about minimum like 2 years. If you're lucky, a year. But some people have even literally said as much as 4 to 10 years in some cases. If you're at the very top of the stratosphere when you dump those chemicals, which no commercial airplane is, let's be realistic. But if there is an operational geoengineering program going on, and they're doing that at, let's say, 50,000 feet. That's not even close. 50 miles up. Okay? If they're doing that 50 miles up, we're talking 4 to 10 years of it just slowly floating down. Okay? Slowly floating down. That's ice age shit. Yes, grave danger. That is an ice age shit. Okay? That is at the very least, a mini ice age. It will devastate crops on a worldwide basis. Mold, fungus, all the, dirty bugs are going to come out, could cause pandemics. All of the bad things that are associated with extreme cold would happen. But geoengineering, that's their whole thing. If we go ahead and we legalize geoengineering, by the time these climate clocks end in 2029, that's just in time for Agenda 2030 and just before the expected grand solar minimum in 2040. That gives us enough time to then claim credit for cooling the globe. And that we weren't lying about global warming all this time, that we were right that global warming is going to hurt us. And that's why we blocked the sun, and we saved humanity by doing so. So you should thank us. Thank you to the people. Thank you to the people. Thank you, technocrats. I'm so glad that you geoengineered and blocked sunlight, because you saved us from global warming. When in reality, everything was going to cool off anyway. This is just about control. Just like with the Rona, just like with the lockdowns and the mandates, this is all about control. Control of all water resources. That's what weather modification is about. Whether it causes floods downstream or causes worse storms and hurts, damages your property, kills people with tornadoes or, severe thunderstorms that just destroy, things with wind damage. They don't care. They don't take any responsibility for any of that. So all of that combined with all the chemicals coming out of all the commercial aviation to the tune of anywhere from 120,000 to 150,000 flights per day, approximately 40 million flights per year. All of that is raining down on us, and there's nobody to protect you. Nobody cares. Why? Because there hasn't been a consensus. There hasn't been a coordinated pushback saying enough is enough. EPA, your air quality network sensors suck. They don't actually measure anything, and you don't test the rainfall. None of this matters. That's why. Bro deleted his comment, and I didn't even get to show the little pictures that he sent me. Now I'm kind of sad because somebody had did a dark field microscopy, dark field microscope scan of some water that came off of some dude's rooftop, and He's like, look at all the crazy stuff in there, man. This is proof of the chemtrails. Anyway, guess, I wish the comment was still there. That sucks. So anyway, the point of all this is, what are we going to do about what we know, right? What are we going to do about what we know? It's pretty simple. Stop waiting to find proof of some secret program to do X, Y, or Z. Pass laws banning geoengineering and weather modification in your county, state, then and country, and eventually even internationally. Pretty simple. Ban that shit. Ban it now and use the reasons why it should be banned. Know the reasons why it should be banned. Take your notes with you. Ban it. Build systems to detect the chemical and electrical signatures of geoengineering and weather modification. Seriously, actually have those sensors built, because the government's not going to build them. It's on us. And by the way, they're expensive. I'm trying to, find some way to drive down the price so that we can have a geoengineering, sniffer in your backyard. But, one day eventually, when I'm out of my 40-hour-a-week job and I can literally sit down with somebody and build the damn thing, I'll be the new Elon Musk of chemtrail sniffing. Okay? Until then, you're going to go to laboratories that do very crappy jobs and don't actually test for nanoparticles, let alone agglomerates, build up of those chemicals, and there's no attribution there. Organize protests against the sponsors and the companies and / individuals engaged in geoengineering and weather modification activities. And I would add research to that. So if you're researching geoengineering, we don't like that. You know what? Why don't you research something else? Why don't you research how to clean up all the freaking plastic in the ocean? Why don't you research how to get the forever chemicals out of our drinking water? Why don't you research how to turn ocean water into drinkable water instead of dumping chemicals randomly in the sky to try to make it rain? Because I think that would be a much better use of money than randomly doing weather modification over, the entire freaking planet at this point. That's the truth. They're not spending their money in the right place. And these pricks have been allowed to just run wild with all their funding and come up with all kinds of crazy ideas, like dumping sodium hydroxide off the coast of, Nantucket or some shit like that. This ocean iron fertilization. I think this one's, they've even come up with a new one where they want to de-acidify the ocean because CO2. Meanwhile, barely ever talking about the plastics. I'm just as triggered as you. I am so sick of the bullshit. The bullshit is climate change. The CO2, hey, to all the climate scientists out there, CO2, you need to let that shit go, bro. Buddha said so. Rub the Buddha belly and let that shit go. Because why don't you act on what we care about today, which is pollution? Pollution of the land, pollution of the air, pollution of the sea, our water sources. That's our number one concern. We don't want to die. Everybody in the sound of my voice right now, 1,000 years from now, if our bones are still around, they will be able to take your jawbone and go, why did these people eat so much plastic? That's just weird. The amount of plastic in their bones. I mean, what were they doing at the time? I mean, let's just say we get wiped out and then the whole planet goes back and then we're the new Neanderthals that they're digging up. That if they were to exhume our bodies, that's what they would find is PFAS and plastics and all kinds of crazy shit in our bodies. Because it's in your bones, it's in your bone marrow, it's there forever. Residuals. If they could tell what a caveman, the caveman ate corn, they could tell these Mayans, they clearly, they ate a lot of corn because we can see it in there, then yeah, that's us. We are the poison generation. And these pricks flying around in their private jets, bloviating about CO2, don't care about, our oceans. They don't care about our aquifers. They don't care about the sky over your head. They don't even care about the air you breathe. You know why? They're rich enough they breathe their own damn air with their special HEPA filter, microfilter, their special, they got adrenochrome and they just suck it out of the children and they get all their special cells and everything, and they got eternal life because they worship Satan. And I don't know, but these people do not have our best interest at heart. So I'm tired of all of these people focused on NextRads and freaking nanobots and Morgellons and all of these things, and nobody's willing to deal with the simple facts. Geoengineering is an evil idea that will kill people. Weather modification is gambling with your weather, and you could be on the receiving end of a death sentence. And I don't know, maybe just possibly they do want to kill you. Because otherwise, why would they be allowing planes to dump, millions of tons of dangerous chemicals in our atmosphere for decades on end, blocking out sunlight and doing absolutely nothing about it? In fact, they're not trying to get rid of the clouds. They want to make more of them as long as they cool the planet. Refer back to more people die from cold than heat. So if you're looking for your depopulation agenda, it's right there in front of you. If you make it cold enough, people will die. If you continue to pump out all of these nanoparticles on a daily basis, which are raining down on all of us, which are poisoning everything, all the everythings, people will die. It all can come back to people will die. If you need a scary, handbag to make this matter to you, they do want to kill you. They've said so. David Keith himself, many tens of thousands of people will die, but we hope that more people will be saved from global warming than we kill with geoengineering. Simply put, that's why it should be made illegal. That's why it should be banned. So quit waiting around for Santa Claus to show up with the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and a handwritten letter from the cigarette smoking guy from Half-Life the video game or X-Files to go, yes, we were all in on this secret government program. It's not gonna happen. Act on what you can prove. Act now. And don't waste your freaking time. Don't ever stop looking for that evidence. Don't ever stop. I'm not trying to say don't look for evidence of scalar technology. Don't look for evidence of Morgellons or nanobots or any of that. Keep your mind open to that, because that very well could, that piece of evidence, that link, causal link, that somebody might slip up and let them spill the beans. Somebody might hack into their government databases and then dump it on the internet. I'll be the first to tell you when that happens. But until that happens, rock on with your bad self. You got enough information to do something about it. Just do it, man. Like Nike, man. Just do it. So that's my advice to everybody. What do we know? What do we not know? And what are we gonna do about what we know? And I say, demand transparency and accountability for damage to health and property caused by any atmospheric modification attempts, period. I even gave it a name originally. I called it the Environmental Modification Accountability Act, an add-on to the Weather Warfare Ban of 1978. But, dealing with just the United Nations kind of a crappy way to do it. So I also want to make this version, and you can see that here on climateviewer.com/nmod. That's my solution. Here's me doing an interview about it, and I've got the entire thing laid out here. It is an act to end atmospheric experimentation without notification and to basically force them to admit to everything they're doing. But I've moved on past this. I want to update this and just say, look, damn it, how about we just ban it all? But originally I made the argument that, why bans don't work. Because, this is why bans are unlikely. And I would like for them to happen, but that doesn't mean that they will happen. What's going on there? Bans don't work. Above ground nuclear warhead testing is illegal due to the Limited Test Ban Treaty, yet North Korea still tests nuclear warheads. It's banned. They still blow up shit. Okay? Best case, build sensors to catch bad actors. More information on that later on. Too big to fail. Weather modification is over a century old and is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Stock markets and insurance companies bet on the weather and ensure their bets pay off with this technology. Water-strapped states will not give up this technology. Humans control. Unfortunately, it's in our nature to control everything, land, rivers, oceans. Why would the sky be any different? Though I would prefer no weather modification at all, men shall dare in the name of progress. Therefore, we need transparency. I would love to see nothing more to see geoengineering and weather modification banned everywhere all at the same time. So get on it, people. Because I would love to move on to talking about something a little more fun and not being so frustrated with the lack of action. And unfortunately, I've got like 2, maybe 3 more years before my wife's out of college and she's, making a bunch of money as a nurse. And then I can go out and raise hell like I used to. Because I can promise you this, it's going to be me and a cameraman up in Washington, D.C., getting in some congressman's face going, why do you allow this shit to happen? Why is the Weather Modification Reporting Act of 1972 the best we can do and it hasn't been updated? Why is make sunsets allowed to geoengineer by throwing balloons in the sky selling cooling credits and nobody does a damn thing about it? Why are Bill Gates, Ken Caldera, and Breakthrough Technologies talking about controlling all of the contrails on the planet to make cooling contrails? What in the fuck is going on? That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to see. And I cannot do it right now because, I got a daughter and I got a wife. I got 2 daughters and a wife, and I got to take care of them. Until that day where I can do this full time, with your support, you can do that. Connect.climateviewer.com. You can sign up for Patreon, give a monthly donation. You could sign up for, the SUBSTACK, any of that stuff. Once I get to a point where I'm just making $2,000 a month, that's the minimum I need. If I can make $2,000 a month, I quit my job and I'm doing this full time. Alternatively, 3 years from now when my wife has a job, she's already given me the green light. She's like, look, I got this after that. We'll build you a studio and everything. And, we'll go fly wherever. I mean, probably drive. But and grave danger, Mike, bro, this is the thing. Like, I could be on here right now. There's a big ass hurricane in the Gulf and saying things like Beryl is manipulated Jim. And I know about the entire history of hurricane modification. I could spin a beautiful yarn and scare the hell out of everybody and make them believe it. But Michael, you cannot fucking prove that. And that would make you a liar. So, like, I'm not going to come on here and lie to people and blow smoke up their ass and claim that Hurricane Beryl is controlled, because I've been watching it like a freaking hawk, and I haven't seen any of the NOAA planes even, like, you know, there's been no modification that I've been able to see. Ramby slider, you know, all the different, you know, sources, watching for atmospheric aerosols, sulfur dumps, looking for carbon black dust dumps, you know, any kind of plane that could actually control, you know, dump a large amount of carbon black dust into the hurricane. There's no evidence of any kind of marine cloud brightening boats around there. No. GFC, Geoengineering for Canada, isn't Renette still working on that lawsuit? I don't know. Honestly, Bettina, I have not heard a single thing about the lawsuit in 2 or 3 months. It's just the truth. So, yes, there's a lot of people that would take advantage of that. I could come on here right now, and I'm telling you, I got enough cool looking gadgets and websites that I could show you every single angle of this of this hurricane. And I could be just trying to rake in the dollars off the fear porn of saying, I know for certain how it's controlled and why it's controlled and all of that. But unfortunately, you can't prove it. You just can't prove it. So that's the truth of the matter. Even despite all the people who say, yeah, it is hard to trust anything. And that's the problem. We have built up such a fear factor on the internet that it has become the modern Library of Babel, where somewhere in there is the truth, but no man ever finds his truth, because there was equally, if not more, misinformation. And I'm just like any one of you. I'm trying to sort through a sea of misinformation to try to come up with what I believe to be the truth. Not just my truth, the truth. And I could be wrong. So please take this information, read this article, review this video. Probably just read the article, because I'm really long-winded in the video. If you're watching the video, tell your friends, hey, you want to listen to this guy, watch it at double speed. You know, he really talks a lot and talks very slowly. I am from South Carolina, as you know. But that's the scenario. So with that being said, guys, please, you know, if you're able and you're on Twitter/X tomorrow night, 8 p.m., going to have that X space. We're going to be talking about geoengineering and chemtrails. And it's probably going to go a lot like what I talked about tonight. There's going to be people who are going to come in there and they're going to say, I know for a fact that the plane, you watch, prediction, because it's going to be recorded, and I'm going to probably end up, you know, putting it on here for you guys afterwards so you can hear the whole thing. So if you want to be part of that conversation, go over to x.com/ClimateViewer, and, you know, click the link. I'll show it to you guys one more time just so everybody knows what it looks like. All the way up here. So on the article right now is a link to it. And I got a link right here. Copy link address. Yep. X.com. There's a link to it right there. And if you click that link, this is what you'll see. And here. Boom. So you'll see, be sure to join us Monday at 8 p.m. for an epic discussion on chemtrails and geoengineering. And when you click on this thing, it's going to pop up like this. Once we're live, you'll actually be able to join the actual space. So if I come back here now, let's just see if there's any spaces opened in right now. This is a space right here. So this is what it'll look like, okay? So you click this. I'm going to turn off the sound just so I don't like bump into God knows what, but you, I'll listen. Nah, screw it. Start listening. Come up in there. Oh, that's nice. So then it pops up like this. and you can
doing it.
And then you
Trump,
have a conversation.
Right? The content of the Abraham Accords.
So
of bringing
you just simply
the countries
click right
together
here,
over
request
business,
to speak,
not over dispute.
And you can be part of the conversation. And this one obviously does not have a lot of people in it right now. But that's the way they work. So it's very simple. You just join one. Look, there's 298 people. Ex-CIA NSA contractor Stephen D. Kelly. And he's currently speaking in there with Reptile Hybrid, who I follow.
Solomon's Temple, where all
and they'll tell you that, you know, this is being recorded and all that stuff.
The Phoenicians.
And you can see all of the people who are in.
I got to mute for a second and run to the head. You know, old man. You know, all right. I'm going to call old man on you. So go ahead and talk. Don't bring anything in, but just give me like 2 minutes. Be right back.
And this is how egg spaces work.
No worries at all, mate. No worries at all. Okay, I'm going to try and find this quote here about Nightmare Hall, the different levels that exist.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, so that's just, it's a conversation on X. It's completely unfiltered. Nobody, nowhere to hide. You just have that conversation. Love for you guys to come over and join me tomorrow night. It'll be at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. If you go there now, it'll tell you when it's happening, your time, and you could set a reminder. I'd love for you guys to show up for that. That'd be hella cool. Over there in Rumble chat, Rumble World, thank you guys for tuning in as well. Link to the article, which has links to all the things over there. Please share this out. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you made it this far through the video, clearly either you love staring at my face or you enjoy the content. Either way, I greatly would appreciate you guys being part of the conversation, and sharing is caring. Leave a comment, and join our Telegram chat. We're always in there. I'm surprised, Dave, you haven't showed up. I mean, you show up for every live thing, but you haven't ever showed up in our Telegram, which is kind of surprising to me. Oh God. Yeah, everybody go raid Dave over at Echoplex Media. Dude, nobody's on my Twitch but you. Like, literally, like, I don't even know why I'm still streaming to Twitch. I think I'm only streaming to Twitch just so that Dave can see when I'm live. I mean, that, honestly. And my Slack ass still has not set up the pill.net yet. You know, I got to set up Foxhole. So I'm going to get on that too. But anyway, we're working on a new show. It's going to be completely different than this. And honestly, it's going to be different. It's going to be completely different than, these long talks about a single topic. We'll still have these occasionally because I love to get in the weeds. But there's always a better way. And if you're not working towards it, you're just stuck in traffic and you're not progressing. So I hope to, get that thing together. I'm supposed to talk to my video editor tomorrow night. And now that I think about it, it's at the exact same time that the X space is going to be going on. So anyway, love you guys, mean it. Got to go to work tomorrow. It's already 10:10 over here on the East Coast in Sumter, South Carolina. Thank you all for tuning in. And to everybody who's like stuck around waiting to act, they're like, they really are pissed off about this topic, but they're waiting on, a secret note from the Illuminati cabal that's behind the depopulation, chemtrail sprayers and all that. I'm just going to tell you straight up, man, you need to let that shit go. And what you probably should do is just, get to work on what we do know. And the information's right there. Just study it. Tell me where I'm wrong. Leave me a comment on the article. Leave me a comment under these videos. I read them all. And once again, the day we all agree is the day we could all be wrong. I could be wrong, but I've been right 99.98% of the time. So Please, point out the errors of my ways if necessary, but get involved in any way you can. And simply by you guys showing up, hanging out this long, you clearly care. And that means a lot to me. Love you, mean it, guys. Y'all have a great week, and catch you on the flip side. Shout out to Quite Frankly. If this video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.
Kids are impressionable. That's why here at this station, we watch the programs and commercials your child watches carefully. He may see bad guys, but not in the role of heroes. And he'll learn that crime doesn't pay. Because your child's welfare is our concern, too. That's part of our code.
Better than anything you can get without a prescription. Anything. It's the best.
Better than anyone, better than anyone.